Alrighty, we are live. Okay, so now I'm live both on YouTube and TikTok. And it actually looks like the mic is working. Praise God. Okay. There was a lot of technical difficulties, so I can finally get the show on the road. Whoever was watching earlier, I'm so sorry. You can pop into this one. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Darius's Story Lab book talk today. Well, let me talk about book talk. So these little live streams are an opportunity for me. I'm going to look at.
Someone is at the front door.
So me and my brother share an Amazon account. And whenever his smart device, like whenever somebody's at his door, his ring door, I find out, which I guess is kind of a good thing because if you think about it, God forbid if anybody was to ever break in or something happened, I would know. Like I'd be like, yeah, somebody's at. He's like, they're out. I'd be like, somebody's at your door. So, anywho, enough about that. These are an opportunity for me to connect with you all and talk about my writing process, what inspired my work, and also answer your questions about the book, which is really, really fun. So I'm really excited. I've got some questions from Instagram. I'm gonna grab my iPad real quick so I can get those ready. And feel free to comment and leave your questions. A lot of my TikTok watchers have abandoned ship. They hopped off and got on their lifeboats. So hopefully they'll come back once they see the ship is afloat. If not, that's fine. They can watch it later on here. So I've got a little agenda. So I'm going to go off of that, just kind of talking about the book, just general thoughts that I wanted to express. And then I'll answer some of the questions from Instagram. And then if you all leave any questions live, I'll answer those. Okay, so let's see. The first thing I had here was, so what inspired the book? Okay, so my inspiration for HAZE, it feels uncomfortable to look at the camera, so I'm just going to look down here. So my inspiration for HAZE, it came from a lot of different places. My college experience, Dan Brown novels, the History Channel, National Treasure, America's Book of Secrets. I've always loved studying secret societies, ancient religious and occult symbolism. Hello, hi Becky, how's it going? Yay, somebody's watching. So you actually bought the book, so this is super cool. So I get to talk a little bit about the book to someone that's actually bought it. So yay. So I was just talking about what inspired the story. So I've always loved secret societies. I've always loved ancient symbols since I was in high school. I remember I was in Kroger, and I had this weird obsession with the Freemasons when I was in high school, and I saw the cover. I saw Dan Brown books, The Lost Symbol, and it had like the what is the symbol called with the G in the middle, the compass and the if anyone's seen Masonic symbolism, you know what I'm talking about. And I was like, I have to read this book. So I begged my mom. I was like, please buy this for me. And she said, I will buy it for you if you read it. And that was the beginning of my obsession with reading books and wanting to write. Yay! I'm so excited that you're excited. Yay! Oh my goodness, this is going to be really cool. Yeah, I'm really excited to share some HAZE secrets with you, like how everything was created. So, but yeah, so I read the entire book, and then after that, I proceeded over the next couple of years to read all of Dan Brown's work, literally all of the Robert Langdon books. And at the same time, I was obsessed with the History Channel. I was obsessed with National Treasure. And I said to myself that I wanted to write something that existed in that world. But I wanted it to be something that was, that I felt like I could connect with. Like I felt like Robert Langdon and Nicolas Cage's character in National Treasure were very cool. And I pretended to be them as a kid. But I didn't feel like I connected to them in the sense where I was like a Black teenager going to school in Oak Park, Michigan. So it's like, obviously I'm not running around Washington, DC or Rome solving these riddles and studying these ancient symbols. So I wanted to create something that I felt like I connected with, a character like that, like a Robert Langdon, like a Nicolas Cage in National Treasure, but that looked and sounded like me. And that's where hate sort of came from. Um, I was this is a long-winded story, but I'm just gonna say it. I remember the moment where Haze as a story itself kind of was born was is my freshman year of college. And it was the last day of welcome week. We were entering into welcome weekend. And a couple of the new friends I made on my floor, my residence hall. We don't call them dorms at CMU. It's like a slur to call a residence hall a dorm at CMU. That's like a big thing in residence life. I made some friends, and they're like, "We're going to take Darius to Main Street." So Main Street is basically where all of the fraternities and sororities are on CMU's campus. Whoop, whoop, fire up, chips. Um, and I remember walking onto Main Street. And by the way, Main Street inspired Martin Street, which is fraternity sorority row in the book. I remember walking onto Main Street, and it's just like a street, a whole block of these big houses with these big Greek letter signs on them, and hundreds, I'm not joking, hundreds of college students everywhere drinking and partying. And it was just like, I remember describing it as like a Disneyland for college kids. It was just people everywhere. And the fraternities and sorority parties were like exclusive. So only certain people were let in. And that's where a light bulb went off in my head. And I said, hmm, I mean, I've been spending my whole like high school career obsessing over secret societies and ancient symbols, and then you walk onto this street and you see these secret parties ran by these secret organizations that uses ancient Greek letters as their symbols. Obviously, these aren't like, this is nobody's like, Illuminati or Knights Templar, but I was just a 17-year-old teenager. I was like, a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, I've got to write about this. So that's where Hay sort of was born. And I didn't really put pen to paper until the year after I graduated. But that's where sort of the light bulb went off. By the way, I said this earlier. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, or I guess the comments are over here if you're on YouTube, or I don't know. And I will answer them. Any questions you have. A question I have is, who inspired Hunter and Haley's characters? That's a really good question. So the characters in all of my work, most of the time, the protagonists are reflections of me. You look at like my musical Tyrone. It's me in different stages of my life. Like Tyrone was me in high school. Sam and Wonder Boy was me like now, and Max was me in college. For Hunter and Haley, they were sort of a mixture of a couple of different people. Haley was a mixture of all of the super cool, just like super cool, super confident, smart, just really awesome uh, women that I had in my life, specifically in college. I had a lot of friends and a lot of residents that were just these really just like super, super cooler than life girls. Like they were like super smart. They didn't have any time for, boys and none of that. Like they had no time for like stupid boys or whatever. Like they were like, listen, I'm focused. I'm here for a reason. I ain't got time for none of those distractions. Get out of my face. They were just super cool. So Haley was inspired by a couple of different people. And a couple of them were actually I was an RA, that some of them were my residents. People that like I learned from them, just because I'm like, how are you cooler than, like, I'm supposed to be the cool person. Like, how are you cooler than me? For Hunter, there's one person that he's really inspired by. I guess I'll call him out by name. So my friend Justin, who is a super, super cool guy. We have been best friends since sophomore year of college. And he is also a redhead. So Hunter is kind of inspired by him. And a couple of other people. But the look of Hunter is dead on, like inspired by him. So yeah, So as a long-winded answer, there's a mixture of different people kind of thrown in there. But for Hunter, at least, my friend Justin is like, that's Hunter. Um, so yeah, it's funny. Somebody has a question about that, but I'm going to get to that in a second. So if you have any other questions, definitely let me know. Whenever you get bored of listening to me blab on, feel free to pop off. I completely understand because I can talk for days about this book. So let me hurry up and get through this so I can get to the cool questions from Instagram and also your questions as well. Thank you for that question, by the way. I appreciate that. I always love talking about my characters because there's a lot of people inspire my characters. Um, so the book has had many different lives. It was when I started writing it after, like, I would say, the year after I graduated, the summer after I graduated, actually. It was supposed to be a book, and then it was an audio drama, and then it was a episodic novel slash audiobook series, and then it became the book that we see now. So it's gone through a lot of different stages to get to this point, and now it's an audiobook podcast, which is really cool. And then what was the other thing on here? Oh, the little safe idea. Okay, so I had this little it was like a little like toy safe that I bought from Five Below. It's probably like $5 or something. Um, and I cut a bunch of like little pieces of paper and I wrote down different ideas of projects that I wanted to work on, books, albums, plays, the whole 9 yards. And I folded them up and put them in the little safe. And I said, every once in a while, I'll shake it up and pull out, an idea and work on it. And one of the ideas in there was actually HAZE. I think, I don't know the exact verbiage that I used, but I think I said, college freshman infiltrates a secret society, um, a college fraternity slash secret society, and that was the idea. I think it was a mixture between book and movie, but it started off as a book, and hopefully there'll be a movie in the future. And then what was the other thing on here? Inspiration for inspiration. Okay, so a lot of the inspiration came from CMU. There are little bits and pieces. Like I always say that you have to write from your own experiences. You have to write what you've actually lived. So even though Winchester is more of like an Ivy League type university, originally when I wrote the episodic novel, it was called Fairview Central, and it was more of like a normal state college. It evolved into an Ivy League because I wanted it to feel like, not the CMU's and prestigious, but I wanted it to feel more like an Ivy League-esque, because I mean, what state university has like a secret society on their campus? Yale has like Skull and Bones. Most of the schools that have actual secret societies are bigger schools or Ivy League schools. So I kind of evolved this school a little bit. But there, whenever I like read HAZE, or even during the writing process, I could picture different things on CMU's campus. So like Max's Hall, where he lives. Trout Fisher is sort of a play on Troutman Hall, which was my freshman residence hall in college. And then the Tower is based on the Towers, which is a residence hall at CMU. Edgerton Stadium is based on Kelly Shorts at CMU. The Movement Center is based on the SAC, which is the Student Activity Center. Andover Coffee is based on this really cool coffee shop at CMU that was called, I think, Kaya. And like Martin Street is based on fraternities. I mean, Martin Street is based on Main Street and CMU at CMU. So there was a couple of different things that I brought from CMU into the book. Let's see, I'd love if it was a movie, who would you cast in it? It's funny that you asked that. I actually, me and my actually the editor of HAZE, my best friend Joey, we spent like a night, like a couple of hours, just sitting, casting the mock version. I don't know, like it was basically a dream cast. So we actually created a dream cast of HAZE if it was a movie. I wish I could have saved it. But I'm gonna pull up the character sheet. And so I can have a list of the characters, because even though I wrote this book, I'm gonna tell you a little secret. I don't remember all of the characters like that. Like I remember them, but like it's hard to remember them by name if they aren't principal characters, just because. And I guess I can talk about that a little bit. One of the difficult things about writing a book is like you have to keep up with a lot. Like I had a character cheat sheet. of all of the characters, all the locations. I actually show you all this. This is an exclusive, a behind the scenes look into the book. There's actually a map of I have a map of Winchester's campus, because I wanted to. Here it is. So I actually had a map of Winchester's campus during the writing process, so that I could actually be able to reference different locations correctly. Obviously, like if you look, Manchester Hall is a decent walk away from like the movement center. So I wanted to create a map so that I could actually reference, like in my mind, it would make sense. I could reference different things in the book, and it would sort of make sense in space. If that, I'm rambling. It makes sense in my brain, but saying it out loud, I guess it doesn't really make that much sense. Basically, I just wanted to create a map so I could understand what it would look like in the three-dimensional world. So anywho, back to your question, because I went completely off my rocker. um so the cast, where's the character sheet? So I created a character cheat sheet. And here we go. Okay. So if I was to cast this, and if any Hollywood studios are like watching, listen, give me all your money. I will give you the rights depending on what the contract looks like. And to any Hollywood actors watching, I would love to cast you in this. So please. For Max, and feel free if you have any suggestions, Becky, let me know. Because I would love those suggestions for the future. For Max, I'm sort of mixed. Oh, invitation to go live together. Oh, I'm nervous. Oh, hello. Wait, did you mean to do that? Oh, I am so sorry. Um, so I'm doing a random like book. Um, I can hear myself, so this is so weird. I'm doing like a random like book event thingy. So I don't want to like ruin your like live stream. um, okay. Um, so I might pop off just so I'm gonna talk more about the book, and I don't want to like interrupt like your. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I don't want to. Okay, cool, cool. But I will pop back on later though. Thank you for inviting me. Oh my goodness. I don't even know how did this work. I'm so old. Like TikTok live is so confusing to me. Uh is it this? Or maybe it's this. Okay, that's okay. All right, I'll be back. Oh my goodness. I didn't even know that's how that worked. Also, I can hear myself now. So I'm gonna take the headphones off because I can hear myself and that makes me sad. Okay. Oh my god, Becky, help me. I don't know what I'm doing. Why can't I hear myself? Why can't I hear myself? Okay, maybe did it stop? It didn't stop. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn my volume down. Did that help? Okay, great. Okay, so I'm sorry. You asked a question and I went like to Mars. I'm sorry. Um Max. Okay, so um Jordan Fisher. Um who is the kid from Jordan Fisher? I forget his name from Stranger Things. I need to look up his name because it's gonna bother me. Um, Caleb McCullen, from Stranger Things. For Hunter, definitely Cameron Moynihan, just because like he's literally referenced in the book. So Cameron Moynihan for Hunter. Do you know any other famous gingers that would be like interest? I don't know. So Cameron Moynihan for Hunter. For Haley Rodriguez, I don't know. Um, Me and my friend kind of talked about it. Haley, I don't know. Oh, I'm gonna cast for Haley. Um, Camila Mendez from Riverdale. That I don't know if she maybe. Maybe I could see her. Um, I'm trying to think of any other really good actresses. Um, okay. And then for Antonio Ricci, Antonio Ricci. I have to think about that. All of the fraternity guys, when I read the book, I kind of picture Haley. I need to. Why do I know that name? Wait, why do I know that name? I love that this live stream has become like a this is a casting session basically. Like we're literally just finding actors for the movie, which I am so down for that. Oh, okay. Oh, yes. Yeah, yeah, yes. Yes, I get exact. Yes, 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 yes. I see it too. Yes, definitely. I could definitely see her as Haley. Yeah, for sure. I love that. I love that. When you read a book, you tend to like picture famous people as some of the characters. Like, I'll be honest, reading Hayes, I kind of picture Cameron Moynihan as like Hunter, just because tall, ginger, like it's Cameron Moynihan. Um, so yeah, so that's the cast I have so far. Do you have any other thoughts? Like any other person that you thought of character wise? I'm trying to think for Chad. Um, there's couple of people that could be Chad. Uh, Really anybody from Riverdale. To be honest, honestly, anybody, any the Omega Psi Beta boys can be anybody from Riverdale. Literally anybody. So those are a couple of the people that I've thought of. Um, and then what are some of the other things that I was gonna So I'm going to get to the Insta questions. Symbols, for anybody that's ever been interested in where the symbols, like how I came up with the infinity cross symbol. So, like I said, I have loved ancient symbols for my entire life, and I actually have a book of the sign symbol source book. It's a basically encyclopedia of religious, ancient, and occult symbols. And I knew I wanted a symbol to be I wanted a symbol for the Omega Psi Betas outside of the Greek letters. So I flipped through the book and I saw a cross and I saw the infinity symbol. And I said to myself, what if I mix both of them? And that's where the infinity cross symbol came from. And then research came from news reports, articles, books. I've been researching for this book my entire life, basically. But the funny thing is, I've sort of become the like go-to person to talk to about hazing now. Like my family members will send me, like my godmother sent me like some news clippings of an article about this hazing that happened at Old Miss. I have family members that text me like links to articles and stuff about like different hazing rituals that happen that cause deaths at different universities. So like for some reason everybody talks to since this book has come out, everybody talks about hazing to me. I'm like the hazing expert, and I'm like, listen, I don't know much, but I have resources. Actually, interestingly enough, my godmother told me that that her daughter was going to give my book to her son who was thinking about pledging a fraternity. And it's interesting because I think one of my goals, one of the big goals of this book was for it to be both entertaining and also educational in a sense. I realized that this is not a book. This is not like a manual for how to prevent hazing at your local university. So please don't think it's that. But I do think that it definitely brings a lot of very real issues to light. The hazing rituals in this book are inspired by very real hazing rituals that I have done research on. So this is not too far off. Obviously, your local, state university's fraternity probably isn't like a secret society, but there's definitely an issue when it comes to hazing. So it's just interesting that it's being used also as an educational tool. And for anybody that wants any information, I'll probably put it in the description. There's some here in the book, but there's some really great resources. I'll actually pull them up now just so I can like reference them for you all. I used them when I was writing the book, and they were extremely helpful because as much as people enjoy the book, I want people to realize that hazing is a very real thing. So if you go to dariusstorylab.com/HAZE, you can click on these. But the Cleary Center, they have an initiative called, I think it's Do Not Haze. We Don't Haze. And they have a documentary that you can watch and some resources that you can share with, students and, your class if you're a student yourself. Stophazing.org is a great organization. I've actually been in contact with them. They actually gave me approval to use them as a resource. So they're really great. And then hazingprevention.org. So these are great resources. And like I said, you can go to my website, dariusstorylab.com/HAZE, and you can click on them there. Alrighty, so let's get to the fun stuff. Let's talk about let's get to the Instagram questions. And if you have any other questions, Becky, anybody else watching, feel free to pop them in. So somebody asked from Instagram, what is it about? So HAZE Book 1 is about a freshman journalism student named Max Carter that decides to investigate a fraternity, the Omega Psi Beta fraternity, at Winchester Phillips University, because a young, bright-eyed freshman student that was pledging the fraternity ends up dying at the hands of a hazing ritual. So Max and his friends Hunter and Haley decide to infiltrate and investigate this hazing ritual. And in their investigations, they find a deeper and darker truth behind the incident, and just the intentions of the members of the fraternity. So this is book 1. There's a whole, don't feel like I ruined the book for you. There's way more in this book than just that synopsis. So that's what HAZE is about. Why is Hunter so hot? So I saw this question, and I had to prepare myself to answer it because I was trying to figure out how do I answer this question. Someone legit, just so you know, this is a screenshot. Like someone legit asked, I'm not joking. Why is Hunter so? Somebody asked that. So just so you know, I'm not creating. So somebody asked that. I don't know how to answer that question. I will say this. I don't necessarily. Well, I don't want to lie either because lying isn't good. I don't always intentionally write my characters to be attractive unless there's a reason for them to be. Hunter is supposed to be the heartthrob, sort of like cool guy that gets into the Omega Psi Betas is full of, the picturesque, frat boys, at any university you go to, and specifically at Winchester. And Hunter fits into that demographic, even though he has a heart and he's not, cold like some of the members of the fraternity. He does fit that picture. So to answer that question, I sort of based Hunter off of my friend and a couple of different people that I know that fit sort of that look. Now, if you want to marry Hunter, if you have dreams about you and Hunter going down the aisle and having children together and living a happy life, I I won't encourage that because there are real people out in the real world. So please don't sit all day fantasizing over my characters. My intentions was for Hunter to fit the demographic, for him to look and sound like a fraternity member. So if you're into fraternity dudes and you're waiting outside the Mega Psi Beta house at your local, this fraternity doesn't exist, but your Omega Psi Beta esque fraternity at your local university. I don't know what to say to that. I hate that question. That question made me cringe. I was like, oh, why are you all like pining after this fictional character? I get he's a cool dude. He sounds and looks like Cameron Moynihan, but chill out, y'all. Like it's not go out and to go outside and get a breath of fresh air. Go get some air. Like, please stop. Um, what did researching this book look like? I talked a little bit about that. I need to turn the light on. It's getting dark. Um, Lots of reading articles, watching documentaries, watching actual YouTube like real life testimonials that people did on their experiences. Um, Sorry, my dog is sleeping, so if you hear him snoring in the background, just ignore him. So actual testimonials of people that experienced hazing. So that's what a lot of the research was, just news stories, articles, watching testimonials, and talking to people that actually experienced hazing. Um, is this okay? Yes, that's the question. Yeah, so that's all the Insta questions. Wow, this was super fun. Also, Becky, thank you so much for sticking through this entire thing. I don't know if I have anything else to talk about. That's basically like the breakdown of it. I was going to talk about like the character breakdown sheet, which I talked about that a little bit earlier about like for anybody that doesn't know, I guess this is a good little tidbit since this is supposed to be the behind the scenes experience. Um, when I write something, whether it's a play or a book, I create a character descriptions cheat sheet that has the character's race, their age, their height, their like mannerisms, little things that they do. Like for example, one of the descriptions is Max. His eyes crinkles when he smiles. He grabs his cross necklace when he's nervous. He lifts his left eyebrow a lot, and he twiddles his thumb when he's bored. So I create an entire document that details all of the little bitty things that make all of these characters human, because I try to make sure that my characters are as realistic as possible. And I actually create this sheet before I even start writing. It's almost like in a video game where like you have the little character, sort of like in The Sims. You create like their race and then their hair and then their nose and all of that stuff and their characteristics, and then you drop them into the game. So that's sort of what I do with the characters in the book. I create the characters and then I drop them in. And my editor was really big on. It's like I listen. My editor, he was a godsend. He was like, you need to create a sort of like a sheet so you can break down. You need to differentiate between the characters because in the early writing, in the early stages of in the book, all of the Omega Psi Betas were the same. And I was like, well, that's intentional, Joey. Like, I want them all to be the same. And he's like, yeah, but like, you kind of want to you want them to be unique. You want them to be their own characters. So I split them up and created, in a sense, like I wanted them to feel as if they were all, even though they kind of had the same agenda, I wanted them all to have different personalities. So yes, that's a little tidbit. Create a character cheat sheet with all of the DNA of the character, because it helps you to, and this is something that I learned even in college and writing, for the theater. It helps you to really like picture the character. When you create all of these different like characteristics, like what their favorite color is, what they like to eat, it makes them more realistic. It makes them more human. That actually started for me when I was in college. Whenever we were working on I forget what play it was I was in, but actually this didn't even start in college. Maybe it started in high school. They were like, create a tell me what your character's favorite color is. Tell me what their favorite song is. Like, create, this is a human being. when you write characters, they are reflections of actual human beings. So you want them to be realistic. And that's also why I tried to make my editor was really big on making sure that I made Winchester Phillips as realistic as possible by adding in little details like Xander's burgers and fries, or little things like, Max goes to Andover Coffee. You want to, that's what I call world building. You want the world of the book to feel as realistic as possible. So you add little bitty details so that when the reader reads it, or when the audience member goes to see the play, they feel as if they're immersed into the story, because it is a reflection. You've created this world for them, even if it's happening on planet blee boo blah, and this is like an alien planet, and that's where your book is set. If you add in little bitty details, it helps the reader suspend their disbelief. So for those couple of days that they're reading it, or the couple of hours, if we're talking about a play that they're watching it, they get immersed into it. They almost forget that the place doesn't exist. And I think that is the telltale sign of a really good writer, is when you can put down the book and be like, wow, like I feel like I went to a whole nother world, because you didn't even realize you were in a whole nother world, because the world was so detailed. So yes, a little tip for you as a writer. That's something that you can definitely do. Keep a character cheat sheet and create maps for wherever, for the setting of your project. So just so you in your mind can understand where everything is happening. Because even when I was writing, like as I was like reading, like proofreading the book, I was actually walking around Winchester Phillips campus in my mind, because I had created the map and I knew where everything was. Note to self, add a Winchester map in the next book. I'm going to do that so that you all can also know where everything is. So yeah, I've ranted quite a bit. Is there anything else you want to know about? Definitely let me know. I don't have any other questions on here. I can't think of anything else that I can talk about. But if you have any questions, let me know. Any secrets about the book that you would like to know? I just wanted to share this because I don't know if I'll have another book talk until maybe HAZE Book 2, where I can share my obsession with like secret society and symbols and stuff. But this is my cryptex. So if you've ever read The Da Vinci Code or watched the movie, there's a thing called a cryptex in it, which it's you have to match up the letter. Usually it's like like I use a word like I'll give it away. My is Xander's based off of a real burger place? That's a good question. And the answer to that is yes, it is. So funny story. This is why you all are getting the behind the scenes. In the original draft of the book, it was supposed to be Popeyes, because one of my favorite places to go to on CMU's campus was Popeyes on Mission Street. But then I was like, well, there's too many real world references in this. I need to create something. I need to world build. I need to create something that's unique to the book. So there's a really cool burger joint on CMU's campus called oh my goodness, it's like it's kind of like Pops. It's like almost like a 50s 60s like shake type place where you get burgers and shakes type joint. Kind of like Pops in on Riverdale. What is that place? It's a place where is it? What is it called? Burger joint, Mount Pleasant. I graduated like 4 years ago, so I don't remember anything much of it. I remember things, but I don't remember much. So I'm trying to remember. It was a really cool place. We used to get burgers and fries there all the time. I'm sorry, I have to. Someone else is watching. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my book talk. I'm talking about OMG. I just saw you in someone else's live. Oh, yes. I promised her that I was going to pop back on her live at some point. So I'm going to have to go on there in a second, or whenever this ends. But hi, yes, my name is Darius. I'm an author. I wrote a book. This is a shameless plug, but I wrote a book called HAZE Book 1, and I'm just talking about it. Becky was asking me about, there's a spoiler alert, there is a burger joint in the book called Xander's Burgers. And she was asking if it was based on a real place, which it is. And I can't find. I don't know. I forget the name of it. And I'm mad because when this live stream ends, I'm gonna remember the name of it, and it's gonna bother me. But anywho, it was like sort of like a vintage type joint where you could get like burgers and fries and stuff like that. But yes, to answer your question, my long-winded answer, yes, Xander's Burgers and Fries is based off of a real place. But it was originally supposed to be Popeyes. And I was like, is this a Pixie? There we go. There it is. There it is. Okay, so I'm gonna actually show you all. I'm gonna show you all a picture. This is a real place. So this is free advertisement for them. Sorry, I'm a grandpa, y'all. I'm still trying to learn how to use TikTok. So this is it. It's a place called Pixie. It's in Mount Pleasant, and like they also have like hot dogs and stuff. But yeah, this is where me and my friends we used to go to get burgers and fries and stuff. So that's what Xander's is loosely based on. Yeah. Let's see. Is your name Colby? I know that that's your username there, but I want to refer to you by your real name if that's not. So what is your name? And I don't know if you've read the book. If not, that's fine. If you don't want to read the actual book, there's an audiobook podcast where you can actually listen to it. So if you go to DariusStoryLab.com, you can actually listen to the first 2 episodes, which as of right now, it's the prologue all the way to chapter 5. No, Madison. Hello, Madison. How's it going? Welcome. So I don't know if you've read it. If not, that's cool. You can listen to the audiobook podcast. That's super cool as well. Do you have any questions about writing books? I don't know. You probably didn't come here for like a writing masterclass, but if you do like writing or would like to write, I write. I mean, I don't know. I wrote a book. I write plays too. I'm actually going to grad school in New York for playwriting. So I know a teeny bit about writing, just a little bit. I'm still learning. But if you have any questions, I'd love to answer. I've mentored a lot of writers, and I've also taught some like I've like not. I don't want to say I taught a class, but I was it was a mentor slash I was a mentor slash teaching artist. So I've taught playwriting. So if you have any questions about writing, I know definitely shoot them my way. If you have any other questions, shoot them my way. If you just want to talk about the live stream is basically like, so thank you all for watching on YouTube. I love you all. Bye. Woo. Okay, so I'm gonna end that stream and so I can concentrate on you all.